What's up, guys? This is Heiss, and today we're finally getting to take a look at footage from the Polar Express train ride at the Colorado Railroad Museum. Yes, it's the new year, and yes, Polar Express is over and done, but it turns out when you're in the throes of the event, it takes quite a lot of your time, and it's been a little bit challenging to get to this footage. I've had a lot of different things waiting for edit through the Polar Express time, so more polar footage and more topics from that season will be coming forth. Special thanks to Nick Ozerak for editing this one as well.
Conductor 20, we're ready for you to bring her down the hill, please.
Here we go. Some semblance of something. They're crossing.
Where? You got a car, but he's stopped.
I see him. In this video, we run Rio Grande Southern number 20 to the North Pole and back at the Colorado Railroad Museum. Yes, thousands of miles, a perilous journey. No, we go around in circles several times, and it's a good time. And we fake it, and at night you actually can't really tell that you're going around in circles, so it works quite well. The Polar Express train ride is an annual event recreating the story from the book and the film of the same name, which you've likely seen. It's a great event, and it's really awesome to see all the smiling faces when you roll into the station with the train. All the kids are super excited, and they're waving to you as you're the engineer bringing the train in, and it's a really good time. For the museum's version of Polar, a lot of the action actually happens before the train shows up, but we're going to focus on what it's like to be in engine service for this event.
There we go. Come on, Rudolph.
This train is getting close to tonnage for Rio Grande Southern number 20 because it's got 5 passenger cars in it, totaling about almost 200,000 pounds. And going clockwise at the museum, we go up a 3.5% grade. So we're getting pretty close. We could probably add another half car if that was available to us, but not much more than that. And what this really means is that for the engineer and the fireman, it's a really fun and engaging challenge to actually get to operate the locomotive. For the firemen, it means you got to keep a really, really good fire in the locomotive. And you got to be really on top of the water level, too. The engine's going to be working with the throttle as open as it goes at some points. So if you have too much water, the engine's going to carry it over. But you got to carry the water pretty high at the museum because we go from 3.5% up to 4% down. So you can't carry the water lower to limit the amount of carryover. You have to have a pretty precise window. As well, because the engine's working so hard and using so much steam, you've got to have a rip-roaring fire in there. But as soon as you get to the top of the hill, the fire needs to die back a little bit so that you don't blow the safety valve off. So it's a very challenging operation as a fireman. As the engineer, it's an extra challenge both uphill and downhill. Uphill 20 is really slick. She's only got 6 drivers, so it can be really tough for her to get her feet underneath her when she's starting out. Remember, it's got the same tractive effort as Denver and Rio Grande Western 346, one of our other operable engines that's receiving its 1472-day service inspection. And at the same tractive effort, but with less drivers, and bigger drivers at that, it's a much more slick engine on the rails. So it's a really fun challenge to try and keep 20 from slipping as the engineer. On the downhill, 20 is a pretty small engine, and 5 cars behind you, that train shoves you really hard. So it can be really interesting to keep that balance of keeping the weight behind you in check, not getting shoved around the railroad, but also keeping everything stretched out in tension. You gotta have just the right brake set. And with 5 cars worth of brakes, you do have a lot of brakes, but it can be really easy to have too much brakes. For the museum's flavor of Polar, we get called to come down from our hiding spot. The train lives up at the back of the museum, away from public view, and we await the call to come down the hill. Then we get to come make our big grand entrance for the guests, wait until everyone's loaded on, and then we get a highball and we head to the North Pole. To run to the North Pole, we make 4 laps while the actors act out scenes from the movie inside the train along the way. One neat detail for us is that they've actually incorporated the former BNSF semaphore into the production. It'll show green and clear when the Polar theatrical production team are ready for us to leave. We still have to wait for a highball for our conductor from the primary station stop, but at the North Pole, that's our cue to leave. And also, on the second to last lap before coming into a station stop, the semaphore shows amber, so we know that we're stopping the next time we come around, which is honestly really helpful because it's really easy to forget how many laps you've done at the museum. It ends up being a bit of a blur sometimes in the fun of operation. And then, of course, it also shows red stop when it's time to come in for any station stop. Once we stop at the North Pole, there's a stage show. And once the stage show is complete, we make 2 more laps to go back home to Golden. We go around the other way, of course. You know, we're going around the world with this whole thing, right? It's a little shorter on the back half. And that's 1 run of Polar. 1 run of Polar of 3. Of something like 35 or 40 performance nights. It's a long event that starts early in November and ends right before Christmas in December. And it's very much a fun event to operate, and it's very important for the museum. In terms of attendance and revenue, but it's what enables us to do the restoration work we do the rest of the year. It can get a little challenging to keep up with all those performance nights, but at the end of the day, it's really important for what the museum does and making sure that we can remain in preservation of all of our artifacts, too. So it's too high. Anyways, guys, I hope you liked a quick look at what Polar Express is like for the train crew at the museum. For the sake of time and being concise, we've edited down this whole experience to this smaller format. But if you want to watch the whole thing, you can join the ES&D Train Crew as a fireman or above and get the whole unedited 45-minute experience from multiple camera angles. And you can see just exactly what goes on and watch the fun that we have while in station as well. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you all next time.